in the fight for the championship in each of our categories begins right here this weekend. The Summit Racing Equipment East Coast Nationals presented by Fuel Tech.
These guys also going for Nitrous Wars, which is a program that involves your
So the Bischoff Engine Services powered Corvette, the Sonny's world-class racing engine powered Corvette for Travis on the right side. First pair at Pro Nitrous will come to the pre-stage beam. Lights are down. Tire shake for Harvey. He's out of power. Top end, Widener. 3.722. 202 miles an hour for Jim Widener this afternoon. And I got to say, hats off to that team. They came out with a very strong effort. Travis Harvey's car, it was as soon as it turned loose at the starting line, he had the front end hiked in the air, and it was chattering the tires all the way past the 60-foot mark. And at that point, Travis knew things were not going his way. He aborted the run and coasted on down to a 4:62 elapsed time. So we'll go out and do a track check. Teams start to converge on the racing surface once again. After some track prep was done, we've seen our opening pair go down here in Pro Nitrous. Ricky Smith, Brian Schrader waiting back in the wings for their turn. Go back and sure watching FloRacing, that was extreme tire shake for Travis. He's trying to drive through it, and it just was not going to happen. So Kyle Lang, our official PDRA starter out there, just checking the racetrack once again, finding little bits and pieces of something.
WS Construction, Pro Boost, we need you. Pro Boost, we need you to the staging lanes for Q1, please.
So very strong car count, as we see in our professional categories. And talk about new cars, new teams, new paint schemes, new motor combinations, and well, it got it committed to the full 2023 Pro Nitrous season here in the PDRA. Comes up on the left-hand side.
Yeah, that's Ricky Smith out of King, North Carolina. The Parkway Ford 22 Mustang. PD Fleet, Boss Buddy, Stock Seth Racing. Jerry Bickle built that machine, and Pat Musey provides the horsepower. 974 cubic inch of Musey power underneath the hood scoop for Ricky Smith. And here on the right-hand side, Brian Schrader in the Robert Hayes Motorsports 2017 Corvette MGP rods, diamond pistons. 974 cubic inches for Schrader as well of Pat Musey power.
Well, it's something that caught my attention as the Parkway Ford and Team SoCal Louisville Mustang comes back to the starting line there on the left side for Ricky Smith. And if you remember last year, previous years, Ricky always ran a small motor combination. He wasn't on the higher end of the cubic inch displacement. And looking here in 2023, Ricky Smith threw the big motor at it, 974. There on the left side, Brian Schrader, Robert Hayes Motorsports camp. You can't count Brian Schrader out. They have seen some impressive numbers. So last year, they come into 2023 looking for success. A true legend in pro modified drag racing, Ricky Smith, is going to try his hand in Pro Nitrous all year long. So Ricky's in. Here comes Brian. Mustang and Corvette. Oh, look at the front end hiked in the air for Ricky Smith. 367.7, 206 miles an hour for Ricky Smith. Brian was 002 and 371.3. That's a good side-by-side drag race. Big numbers out of both of those race cars. And then you look at, of course, Jim Widener's 372 elapsed time. We've seen some nice runs in just the first two pairs in the opening qualifying session today in Pro Nitrous.
Well, Derek, if you're going to come into a series and make a statement, I think Ricky Smith just did. I mean, of course, he's raced with us prior in the PDRA, but man, what a comeback right here.
That was a beautiful A to B run for Ricky Smith. The car stayed in the center of the racetrack. It had the front end hanging in the air just about 330 feet out. It set it down, and that was the equation 367. You've seen it there, and now that's the number that everybody in the category is chasing.
And that's going to bring up Jackie Sloan on the left-hand side out of Milan, Michigan. The Sloan Boys Racing 1969 Chevrolet Camaro. Cox Trucking, Mullins Auto Parts, Hoosier Tire. Powered by one of those 959 cubic inch Pat Musey monsters. And here on the right side, the Dark Knight, John Vergatz, the A1 Automotive 69 Camaro with the Charlie Buck power plant underneath his hood scoop. 959 cubic inches for him as well. So we'll see, because obviously have some heavy hitters coming up here in just a little while, but we'll see just how stout that Ricky Smith pass was. Cool conditions out there today. The sun's not beating on the racetrack, and a lot of traction provided by Jimmy Bradshaw and Tyler Crossnow.
So if you're Jackie Sloan, John Vergatz, you've seen two pairs go down. 3 out of the 4 made it to the other end. It's got to make you feel good. Vergatz goes towards the center line. The Dark Knight Camaro is going to be out of power, and Jackie Sloan, 376 and 200 on speed for the Sloan Boys Racing Chevrolet there. So Jackie goes to number 4. John Vergatz has some problems we talked about, and Coston down at 579. They had 76 number out of Jackie Sloan. It's a solid elapsed time to start, obviously, working on it from there, trying to improve in the later qualifying sessions.
And that'll bring up Rob Honeycutt on the left side out of Hughesville, Maryland. The Black Hammer 2017 Mustang for Honeycutt Glass, Robert Tall Plumbing, Cliffs Heating and Air, full spectrum power, and a Charlie Wilkins Racing Engines. Sandy Wilkins Race Engines, 942 cubic inch. Underneath the hood scoop for Rob Honeycutt and Cam Clark here on the right-hand side. Out of Reidsville, North Carolina, the D&T Motorsports 69 Camaro for Cumberland Farm and Auto. He's utilizing a Pat Musey power plant underneath the hood of his hot rod. Cam, a known big dog racer. He came in here at this race last season and hurt a bunch of feelings and win a few rounds. So we'll see what Cam has right here on his first attempt at the Scalad 8th mile.
So I tell you what, think about this. With the headwind that we're seeing, that we've had all day long, we've seen in top dragster early on in the morning, that everybody was about 0.03 of a second slow. So if you take that 367 number, potentially Ricky Smith with no headwind, when it's about a 65 there. So that's a very stout run. So Rob Honeycutt, Cam Clark. Old school, new school, Ford Chevy matchup. Oh, another side-by-side drag race. Clark sashays around out there, brings it back at 3.806, 198 miles an hour. Rob Honeycutt has his hands full in the shutdown area. The Ford Mustang crossed over in the other lane. He brought it back, missed the wall, and Rob Honeycutt makes it safely off the top of the racetrack. But once the chutes came out, that's when the problem started to unfold for Rob Honeycutt. And Cam Clark grabbed a whole lot of brake pedal down there to try and stay off of Rob Honeycutt's Mustang. So Honeycutt's 4. Clark is number 6 in qualifying, and both cars are in, well, one piece exiting the racing surface.
Yeah, that was a little exciting to say the least right there. Billy Albert here on the right-hand side out of Wytheville, Virginia, the El Chapo 1969 Camaro. The Stan Nance-owned structural mechanical machine, 959 cubic inches. Marcus Butner, left-hand side out of Tobaccoville, North Carolina, the Butner Construction 69 Camaro for Twin City Rebar. He's got one of them 973 cubic inch Pat Musey monsters underneath the hood scoop of that beautiful machine.
So Billy Albert took the offseason to rebuild this structural mechanical Chevrolet. You remember back when we went to Maple Grove, Billy unfortunately had contact with a retaining wall that was extensive damage to the front end of this race car. So they went to work over the offseason. And here it is in 2023. You look across the racetrack, that's the Pat Musey-powered Camaro of Marcus Butner. A brand new paint scheme that they have here. Absolutely gorgeous. Albert's in, tree fires, there goes Butner. Another clean side-by-side drag race, and the numbers on the scoreboard, 368.3, 203 miles an hour for Billy Albert. Marcus Butner trails at 3.708, 204.51. He has, I was going to say his top speed right now. Ricky Smith, 206.64, top speed low ET right now, but Marcus Butner, there was a lot of speed in that race car. That 370 number is good enough for number 3, as we were talking about. But Billy Albert, that's got to feel good to have what happened last year, have the entire rest of the season, off season to kind of regroup, get that car rebuilt, come out here in qualifying and lay down a solid number right in Q1.
Final call for WS Construction Pro Boost. Final call for WS Construction Pro Boost. Yeah, Billy Albert, that was impressive. He came out yesterday and laid down a good lap, so we thought the car had it in it, and he sure did prove it to us right there.
A lot of these teams were able to test yesterday. Of course, we tested on Wednesday as well. Coming into the new season, we always have 2 days of testing, and a lot of the teams take advantage of that to try and bring their A game to the table in Q1.
Ed Burnley next on the left-hand side out of Pasadena, Maryland, the Ironman 1969 Camaro. Southwind refrigeration on board his machine. Pat Musey provides the mill. Under the hood scoop, it's 959 cubic inches. Mike Ocken. Dynamics on board this machine. So Mike Achenbach won at this event last season. Can he do that again here? First job is to get qualified, and here we go.
Oh, Burnley front end hiked in the air, and he has to click it off earlier. He was going to cross over the center line. Achenbach at 373.4, 203 miles an hour. Ed Burnley's car was moving hard early on into the run, but it just kept pushing to the right and nearly took out that half track of the 330-foot mark. It was in Ed Burnley's sight. And that's when he decided to abort the run, drop the front end back down, and be able to steer it over in the center of the racetrack and bring it back to Q2.
The sort. Switching over. Right-hand side. Out of Chesapeake, Virginia, the Escobar 2012 Ford Mustang. Albert Race is BHM. On board the machine here on the Wood found a lot of success towards the end of the season, the back half of the season last year, trying to carry that momentum over here into the
and that's
season.
a tough break.
And
Freddie
we're looking.
Scriba is broke here at the starting line. The team is radioing in, and they are going to push that Sorcerer Camaro off. So now all eyes turn to Dane Wood. New sponsor on the side of the Ford. We've seen career best numbers out of Dane last year. See where they start this season off. Ooh, tire shake right at the starting line for Wood. He was 003, chattered him from the hit just past the tree. So Dane coast on down at 784. So we just got a little more information in what transpired out there. It was once Freddie Scriba completed his burnout, backed up, and seen that there was some oil left behind on the racetrack, I believe from a previous pair. PDRA staff did not want to send Freddie down. You had Dane Wood sitting there ready to go. So they opted to send Dane on a single. Freddie, as soon as the track is back into shape, will get his attempt here in the first round to qualify.
Cams has the parts to make big horsepower on the strip and the street. Each part is built by the industry's largest team of engineers and backed by a knowledgeable technical support staff. Camshafts, lifters, rocker arms, valve springs, and a complete line of valve train components are available at compcams.com. Braille Battery, USA made in sunny Florida since 2009. Powering top drivers and racing teams around the world for over a decade. Street cars, track cars, Harleys and boats, we have options for all your AGM and lithium batteries. Lighter, smaller, more powerful, and longer lasting. Braille Battery. For Braille Battery, USA made in sunny Florida since 2009. Powering top drivers and racing teams around the world for over a decade. Street cars, track cars, Harleys and boats, we have options for all your AGM and lithium batteries. Lighter, smaller, more powerful, and longer lasting. Braille Battery.
All right, on the starting line, if you're not with the car that is currently running, you need to move. You need to get off of the starting line. There are way too many people standing up here. If you're not with the car that is running, I've yet to see a 20-person crew. We need you to get off the starting line. All right, so the racetrack is ready to go. The Scriba team making a few adjustments there before they refire that hot rod and send him on his way. Pro Boost, you should be in the staging lanes ready for Q1. Pro Boost, you should be in the staging lanes ready for Q1. And Scriba comes to life.
Oh, Freddie Scriba now cannot get the car in reverse. And I think he's opting to just roll down the racetrack. He's trying to. I think he could after another short burnout. He sat there for quite some time. The tires had cooled off. He opted to do that second burnout. Now he's able to refire, get the car into reverse, come back to the starting line. Frantic couple moments here for the Scriba welding team. Freddie's got to take a deep breath. Focus on the driving duties at hand. Last minute adjustments on the wheelie bars being made. He will pull to the starting line. Nice run for Freddie. How about 368.8, 204 miles an hour after everything that transpired. Freddie Scriba lays down a nice solid laps time to be number 3 right now here in Pro Nitrous qualifying. 14 drivers went down the racetrack so far.
One of our marquee matchups here in qualifying comes out of the box next. Jay Cox from Smithfield, North Carolina, the Pumpkin 1969 Camaro. For Butner Construction, Smithfield Collision, RJ Race Cars. Cox utilizing one of those 973s under the hood scoop. And he'll be up against Tommy Franklin here on the right-hand side out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, the Jungle Rat 69 model Camaro. Franklin Electric, SmartCom Home Technologies, and Rogers Automotive. On board that Musey powered. He's got a 959 under the hood in that machine.
So Jay Cox, Tommy Franklin. Got teams that have made a lot of runs already this season. Throughout testing, down there to Florida, the World Series of Pro Mod. They converge here in the first PDRA national event of the year. Tommy and Judy, their entire team is looking to put a number 1 back of the window of that Camaro. Jay Cox, that is a 2-car team between him and Marcus Butner. We've seen Butner go 370 to qualify number 4 right now. 2 Musey-powered race cars are side by side. Cox and Franklin, top end of the racetrack. Look at the numbers, 367.9. 205 the speed of the 368.206 elapsed time out of Jay Cox's Chevy. So Tommy slides to number 2 by just 0.02 of a second. Jay Cox takes to number 4. And, man, that was a heck of a run. Look at the speed, though, out of Jay Cox's car. Almost what we've seen out of Ricky Smith. Both were 206, but Ricky still has low ET and top speed.
So now we've had 16 cars qualify. Looks like we're going to bump somebody out of the field, possibly after this pass. Chris Reaney, left-hand side of the racetrack out of Hickory, North Carolina. The Silver Bullet 69 model Camaro, ATI Performance Products. Charlie Buck provides his horsepower underneath the scoop, 959 cubic inches. Chris's Automotive and L&R Auto Sales on board that machine. And your 4-time champ here on the right-hand side, Jim Halsey, the Daddy Shark 68 Camaro out of Cecil County Dragway. Schweitzer Dynamics, Fulton, providing his horsepower, 959. Yellow Bullet Nationals, PRS, and Davis Race Engines, along with Schweitzer Dynamics.
Yeah, Jim Halsey has set records in every way, shape, or form in the PDRA over the last couple seasons. Chris Reaney, he debuted at Silver Bullet last year, and they made some very nice runs towards the end of the season with that car. That's when they started coming on strong. Chris, Team ATI Performance Products, they're going to try to come out of the gate swinging. So we know for a fact these two drivers are going to take a swing at the number 1 spot. You got to go quicker than 3.677. Ricky Smith still holds that number 1 spot. Watch this one, top end, 367.6 to the 373.0. 205 miles an hour, and by 1,000 of a second, Jim Halsey is your number 1 qualifier at the end of session number 1 of Pro Nitrous.
Man, what an opening round of qualifying, Derek.
Beginning of the session, Ricky laid down the stellar run. End of the session, Jim Halsey comes up, ends out on top, and it's going to be a dogfight. You take it for whoever gets the top spot going into race day.
Absolutely, man. What a great round of qualifying here. But now we're going to switch gears and move over to WS Construction Pro Boost, presented by P2 Contracting and Tie Drive. First up, Bubba coming up here in the Corvette. And if you've ever been around the sport of drag racing for any length of time, check out who's on the back of the car. That's Scotty Cannon. And I can remember when I was a little bit younger watching him just absolutely dominate the world of pro modified racing. He sets the wheelie bars for Bubba's Corvette. But Scotty Cannon here at Gallatin Motorsports Park, crewing on a pro mod car. That's pretty cool.
So Bubba, single run. We're going to kick off things in Pro Boost with their opening round of qualifying. Ford 12, 193 miles an hour. They will go back and work on some things. The car was, well, it went 660 feet in one gear.
One gear, yeah. It did not sound like it was very happy. So our next pair come to life. Right. Car owner Fletcher Cox stands out on the starting line. Of Atlanta. Joe Albright backs up here right side. And Travis Harvey, we talked about him doing big things this year. The East Coast Nationals. He's on Team Gallatin. for this year in Pro Boost. The 69 Camaro, Pro Line, Fuel Tech, VP Race Fuels, LAT Racing Oil, Pro Chargers, as well as M&M transmissions for that machine. Fletcher stands out in front of Nova Joe and pulls him up to the starting line.
Yeah, what a big move for Joe this season. Over here into Pro Boost, Travis Harvey, we talked about earlier on in the day how he's doing double duty. He just went down in Pro Nitrous. Now he jumps in the Galat Motorsports Camaro. Fletcher Cox, one of the top teams here in the category of Pro Boost. Joe Albrecht top into the racetrack, 364.3 to the 361.2. 207 mile per hour charge out of Travis Harvey. For Galat Motorsports, that's a big number we just seen there. Joe, 364, 3:2:06:67. Those are numbers that you got to be proud of with as well. Going from Pro 632 to Pro Boost.
Pro Street, we need you to staging. Pro Street, we need you to the staging lanes, please. Scott Lang on the right-hand side out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the AML Motorsport. For that machine. And party time, 69 Camaro. He's back in a boost car. Transmission, they have looked impressive in the offseason. Randy Weatherford with the team car this season right here on the right-hand side of the racetrack, and Scott Lang and Jason Harris. Left side.
Jason and Scott. Turning them loose. Scott Lang goes into tire shake. Jason Harris, no problem. 362.3 at 208 miles an hour for the party time Camaro. Jason's run. Put him number 2 right behind Travis Harvey, who laid down the 361 in laps time. Pairs ago.
Inside the Miller Welders, NGK Spark Plugs, VP Race Fuels, 69 Camaro for crew chief. Us here on the right-hand side. And Kevin Rivenbark out of Wallace, North Carolina, driving the Stan Shelton-owned Culp Lumber 67 Mustang. Shelton Insurance, Shelton Real Estate, Pro Line, on board for Rivenbark. Rivenbark, one of the winningest pro-modified drivers in PDRA history, behind the wheel of his good friend Stan Shelton's machine. A family event with their tractor pulling stuff. He said, come on, Kevin, drive my machine.
Where's Kevin Rivenbark, the local runner? Wallace, North Carolina. A lot of success over the years here at Galat. Rivenbark with the top ball blitz. Kenny Lang, a veteran of pro modified drag racing, is in. Tire shake, and Kenny Lang clicks it off. Look at the number 4, Kevin, 365.3, 207.24. 007 reaction time. That's going to put Kevin number 4 right now. Just got word from our trackside spotters that we're going to bring a little bit of equipment out of the racing surface. Do some work momentarily. Go back into the opening round of qualifying here in Pro Boost. Latino and Mike Decker. We'll sit back here on the water box for a moment.
Sports Pro Racing. We need you to the staging lanes if you're not already there.
Focus on sportsman racers with replacement Sportsman steel rockers, providing an affordable upgrade for its Pro aluminum rockers. They're designed to be a direct replacement for Jessel's Pro aluminum bodies and will bolt to existing stands. Each rocker body is manufactured from a premium heat-treated steel alloy with a black oxide coating, providing years of dependable service. These rockers are the perfect fit for boosted or nitrous motors, which build up extreme cylinder pressures. For the ultimate and affordable steel rockers, give Jessel a call today. Jessel's new Sportsman roller lifters feature Jessel's proprietary bronze bushings, the only bushing lifter available with Jessel's unparalleled precision and reliability. Starting with an 8620 heat-treated and polished lifter body, these tie bar style roller lifters have a pressurized oiling circuit and share many of the components found in Jessel's Pro Series tie bars. Available for all popular blocks, the Jessel Sportsman roller lifters are perfect for all but the most extreme engine packages. Learn more at jessel.com. Proline Racing is a global top-tier provider of high-performance drag racing engines, parts, and turnkey packages, as well as EFI software and tuning capabilities. For over 15 years, Proline Racing has been in the pits and on the starting line, working hard to create the winning formula for the racer. Their team delivers products and services for over 150 customers throughout the USA, Australia, Brazil, the Middle East, Europe, Puerto Rico, Canada, and the Dominican Republic. Proline Racing is your #1 source for leading manufacturers like Fuel Tech, Billet Atomizer, Precision Turbo, Turbo Smart, and much more. Proline's main goal is to make horsepower and win races. Check out ProlineRacing.net for great deals and clearance parts, apparel, and more. Or call 770-481-8000 to speak to one of their experienced team members. Looking for the best carbon fiber wheelie bars? Look no further than the official wheelie bar of PDRA. MVM by Galat Motorsports. MVM by Galat Motorsports manufactures their wheelie bars to the highest quality, making them the only proven wheelie bar on the market. Check out MVM by Galat Motorsports on Facebook or give them a call at 910-305-2207.
Pro Street, still looking for you. Pro Street Cars, we need you to the staging lanes. Pro Street Cars, we need you. Pro Street, we need you to the staging.
All of Maxima's engine oils contain a double zinc formula. The first zinc activates at lower temperatures, protecting engines during startup. Once the engine warms up, the second zinc activates, again adding to performance and engine protection while in the heat of battle. To learn more about Maxima Racing Oils or find product for your performance racing needs, visit MaximaUSA.com. From the world's quickest PDRA and NHRA to the wildest radial cars out there, if you want record-setting performance and reliability, you need tie drive, like competitors Jim Halsey, Tommy Franklin, Todd Tutterow, Kurt Stedding, Ricky Smith, Lizzie Musey, Stevie Jackson, Tommy Gray, Caruso Family Racing, and Decker Salvage Racing. Tie Drive, the leading edge in converter drive technology for lockup and non-lockup style torque converters. For race-winning results and a name that you can trust, get Tie Drive. Before one gets you, Tie Drive got you locked up.
We need pit vehicles out of the staging lanes if you're not hooked to a car. Pit vehicles, we needed them out of the staging lanes if you're not hooked to a car. Racetrack, we're ready to go, and that's going to fire up our next pair. Eric Latino, left side. And Mike Decker Jr. here on the right-hand side. Latino out of Port Perry, Ontario, Canada in the 69 Camaro, tuned by Al Billis. VP Race Fuels, NGK Spark Plugs, Race Star Wheels, KB Titan Racing on board. And Mike Decker Jr. right here on the right-hand side out of Woodstock, Maryland, the big change, 2017 Camaro. ISI Demolition, Decker Salvage, Auto Fab, JKR Racing Products, Tie Drive, YO, and Noonan. On board this machine here.
Yeah, this
and
should be a good
they've been
pair.
laying down some laps.
Eric Latino, Mike Decker. This should be a very good opening matchup between the 69 first gen and the 2017 Camaro. To be number one, you got to take down Travis Harvey and go quicker than 361.2. Eric runs a lot of the NHRA Pro Modified series. Came over here to the PDRA last year with us a little bit. Mike Decker, we've seen that family and team on tour a lot. Well, there goes Eric Latino at 369.9, 201 miles an hour. As Mike Decker had his own set of issues and was 004 here at the starting line. He was 934 down low between the 60-foot and half-track mark. That is when Decker's Camaro started to chatter the tires and coasted on down to the finish line at 474.
Derek Ward, left side of the racetrack out of Friendship, Maryland, a 69 Camaro, and that's a new mount for him. Chip King on the right-hand side out of Roxborough, North Carolina, the DreamWorks Motorsports 71 Charger, Carmack Engineering, and Coil Racing. The wildest looking machines here in Pro Boost. Backs up here on the right-hand side of the racetrack.
Chip King's beautiful blue DreamWorks Motorsports Charger will line up alongside Derek Ward's Maryland-based Mustang. Chip has always been a Dodge guy. Painted a few of these cars over the last couple years. it's going to be Derek Ward, 369.2, 206 miles an hour. Chip King had some mechanical issues. 381 with a 3, 199. He was, said, down on ET, down on speed, and a little smoke out of Derek Ward's Camaro.
But one interesting fact, Chip went A to B. We've seen a lot of guys struggling over here on the right-hand side of the racetrack, and Chip just made it look easy. Of course, he didn't get the ET he was looking for, but still went A to B. So we'll be down just a moment while we check the racing surface. Make sure it's good to go. Great to see Frank Papp from Hoosier Tire down on the starting line. Frank hanging out with us. We appreciate him and everything Hoosier Tire does for the PDRA.
I got the chance to talk to Frank briefly yesterday. I seen him, and of course I was like, "Hey, how you feeling? How you doing?" And he said, "Let's get back to 100%. The strength's not there. He's like, I'm still working on that, but health-wise, everything's good, and that's the major key." So I'm good to see, like I said, Frank Papp here, back in the house, representing Hoosier Racing Tire. He had quite the battle last year, unexpectedly.
All right, like we said, we're checking the racing surface, make sure we're good to go. Hopefully we'll be right back up and running here momentarily. All right, word from the top end. Looks like we're all clear and ready to go. Next pair come to life, James Beedling and Don Tolley. Tolley on the clock right now. Here on the right-hand side, trying to get that machine fired up. James Beedling left side out of Olmsted Falls, Ohio. The Kelling Equipment 2018 model Camaro. SSI Industries on board, and I just heard Tolley fire up. Tolley, the father-son operation out of Bedford, Virginia. 2014 model Camaro with the Kowalski power plant. Mark Smith Racing. M&M Transmissions, Unlimited Motorsports, and MacFab Beadlocks. Tolley, his son Ryan there, getting ready to pull him up into the beam. Ryan doing a lot of no prep and small tire stuff and being successful at that. So,
of course, Kyle Lang stepped out in front of Don Tolley, advised him that it's going to be a short burnout. Don was very respectful and didn't even go across the starting line. So two teams will pull up to the pre-stage B. So the car that James Beadling behind the wheel of right now, it's a new combination for family over there. Dolly's on a run, and there goes the backfire. 386, 161 miles an hour. You've seen the pop of the bang. 376, 201 the speed for Beadling down the left-hand side. So James goes to 7, Tolly to number 9. Numbers were very strong early on for Don. He blew a burst panel just before the mile-per-hour cut. Of course, we will take a look at the racing surface. Go ahead and make sure Don's okay in the car as it gets off the top of the racetrack.
Chuck Walsh, William Brown III come to life and roll through the water box here at Galat Motorsports Park. Well, all shut him out. Erie, Maryland, the Red Line Old 68 Camaro, Brian Roach Racing Engines, Brad Anderson Engineering, and Hammer Superchargers. You can hear William Brown trying to get his Pro Charge machine fired up here in the water box on the right side. He is on the clock and does get it fired up. Jimmy Bradshaw, Kyle Lang out there making sure that Brown doesn't do the John Force style burnout. Great job by him to keep the burnout short here on the right-hand side, knowing that all should burn out and ready to go. So William Brown, that beautiful Camaro out of Chesapeake, Virginia. They call it Blue Magic. Proline Racing, Fuel Tech, and Brown Racing on board that machine.
First to see Chuck Walsh over there, his crew, they've been ready to go. Final adjustments on the wheelie bar height taken care of right now for William Brown and his team. Kyle Lang starting to move over there a little bit. Say, hey, let's go. Clean run out of Brown's Camaro, top end, 372. 366. Look at the number on Chuck Walsh, 205.35 miles an hour. He was 15 going by the tree, and Chuck Walsh slides to number 5. Brown goes to number 8. Right now we've had 15 drivers go down here in this opening round of qualifying.
Jason Lee up next, left side of the racetrack out of Vernon, California. The Coast Packing Company 69 model Camaro, PTP Racing, Pro Charger, Lions Custom Motorsports, Noonan Race Engineering, Halt Tech, and Quick Drive on board his machine. And here on the right-hand side, the $100,000 man behind the wheel of Jack in the green stock, Spencer Hyde in the 69 Camaro for Summers Generators, Hyde Electric, Willem Concrete, R&R Sand and Gravel. Hyde was the talk of the Winter Series as he picked up the big check at the World Series of
side, Jason Lee, Spencer Hyde. You got PTP Racing and Patrick Barnhill. Watch it on, Jason Lee doing the driving duties. Spencer Hyde has the top bulb lit. The Bahrain 1 Chevy Camaro here in the Napa Auto Parts lane. Spencer Hyde's got the front end hiked in the air and 365.9. Look at the left-hand side, 3.637. 207.78 miles an hour. Jason Lee in the Coast Packing Company who's going to go to number 3. Spencer Hyde to number 6. Travis Harvey still holds on to the top spot at 361.2. We look at top speed of the event so far. Jason Harris, 208.49 miles an hour. And he sets number 2 in qualifying.
And Derek, think about it. That lap by Travis Harvey just sticks out even more now as a bunch more cars have run, and he has really laid the number down early in qualifying for Q1. So Ken Cortuccio and Scott Wilgus come up next. Cortuccio on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Wallington, Connecticut. The Serial Killer 1969 Camaro. Eastside Auto Trans, O-Line, Menser, M, Carm, Fuel Tech, you name it. He's got it on that machine. He also picked up a win in the Winter Series down in Florida. And Scott Wilgus here on the right-hand side out of Sebringville, Ontario, Canada. The Smokies Garage 2019 model Camaro for Remax, Clark Construction, and Fraser Asphalt. For Wilgus, a couple weeks ago, he had an unfortunate top-end incident in his Mustang, and now they unveiled the 2019 model Camaro. Great-looking hot rod over here, and he made some impressive runs yesterday in testing.
Yeah, King Cortuccio, if there's a guy that can take over the number 1 spot, you're looking at it here on the First Federal side. The Serial Killer going to take a swing at Travis Harvey. There's no doubt about it. We'll see if he can go to number 1. Some new crew shirts out there for Scott Wilgus and his team. Smokies Garage Camaro. Wilgus wastes no time. The tree fires. They're out and away. Watch Ken Cortuccio, 365.9, 202 miles an hour with a perfect reaction time. Wilgus trailed at 372.02 on speed. Cortuccio's run looked very solid, and I thought a bigger number was going to appear on the top end scoreboard. Cortuccio goes to number 7. He's still in the top half of the field. Scott Wilgus takes over number 11, and now our bump spot's going to be 412.
Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock presented by AED Competition. We need you to staging, please. Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock presented by AED Competition. We need you. Randy Weatherford and Rob Cox coming up next. Randy Weatherford here on the right-hand side. The WS Construction 2021 Camaro. Virginia. Pro line on board this machine. Randy Weatherford always a threat to go to the top. Rob Cox, left side of the racetrack. The Cox Trucking 2017 model Camaro for Type A Motorsports, Modern Racing, Elite Motorsports, Corgan Oils, and Newton Race Engineering. 19 cars have taken time so far. Bubba Green, 412, sits on the bump. 361.2, the number 1 spot held by Travis Harvey.
We've seen Rob Cox make some upsets last year. Camaro on the left-hand side. Good side-by-side drag race to the 660-foot mark. 363.5. Randy Weatherford lays down a lap. 208 miles an hour. 370 with a 9 there for Rob Cox. That's going to put Weatherford number 3 right now. Say hello to top speed of qualifying so far for Randy Weatherford.
And now Chip King sits in the number 16 spot at a 381.3 in that Charger. More heavy hitters coming, though, and here comes 2 more. And Kurt Stedding on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the P2 Contracting. P2 Racing, YO Motorsports Tie Drive, P2 Paving, NGK Spark Plugs, and Robert Abbott Oranges. Kurt, a race winner, a proven race winner here in the PDRA. Got Todd Tutterow tuning on that machine, and Tutterow won the championship here in WS Construction Pro Boost last season. Now his sole efforts on getting Kurt Stedding a championship, and that machine sitting on the left-hand side of the racetrack. Calm like a bomb here on the right-hand side. Calm like a bomb. That's what it says on the front of the Hells Bells machine here on the right-hand side. Johnny Camp out of Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania, the Tateman Electric Company Pro-Line NGK Fuel Tech machine. And Camp, very capable of laying down a charge right here. Brandon Stroud, the crew chief, sets the wheelie bars.
Yeah, this is kind of what we've seen in Pro Nitrous. Ricky Smith came out early on in the session, laid down a stellar run. Travis Harvey came out earlier on in the session, laid down the run that's still held as number 1. And remember, it was not until the very last pass that Jim Halsey took over the top spot. So we've got some really strong cars here at the end of this first session of Pro Boost. This is when the big numbers could happen. Kurt left side, Johnny right side. Got to remember Kurt Stedding, one of the fastest race cars we've seen last year. And 366 to the 363.2, 206 miles an hour for Johnny Camp. That's going to be good enough for number 3. Kurt Stedding, number 11. And William Brown's on the bump spot at 372.1. And Todd Tutterow stepped out of the driver's seat this year, and he is focusing on just motor building and tuning. So his full focus and efforts are right in Kurt Stedding's corner.
Yeah, and that's a big boost to Stedding. I mean, sure, they were teammates last year, but Todd was out there trying to win a championship for himself. With all his efforts focused now on Kurt, they should do some big things this season. Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock. Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock, we need you. 2 more heavy hitters pulling up. Preston Tanner left side out of Rensselaer, Indiana, the Sweetheart 2015 Corvette. Strange Engineering, Talbot Manufacturing, YO Motorsports, and crew chief Jeff Pierce helping him out. And on the right-hand side, your world record holder in the class, Melanie Salemi, here on the right side out of Buffalo, New York, the Purple Rain side piece 2019 Camaro. For Ali Installations, Liberty's Gears, Quick Drive, Ross Pistons, NGK, LAT. She's got just about everything built into this machine right side. Came up just a little short in a world championship battle last year, lost out to Todd Tutterow, and she's ready to go for it again this year.
Melanie's hungry. There is no doubt about it. The team, they have brought their A game, the best that money can buy for both of these race cars. Preston Tanner had his rookie year and did very well. Very well. The kid drove like a professional out there. Chad Green still on board, helping out. His dad will back away. Andy Tanner, 3rd year already. I want to say his rookie year was last year. Can you believe 2 years ago?
Yeah, he's such a veteran, just graduated college and all. You can board. Light the ball.
Melanie had tire shake down low, top end 3.607. Melanie Salimi in the final run of the round goes to number 1. Preston Tanner was right alongside of her, 362.3, 206 miles an hour. But Melanie Salimi, just as we seen in Pro Nitrous, it was that final pair and laid down a run. She is number 1 going into Q2.
And that's pretty sick, Derek. You have to go quicker than a 3.70 to make it into the 16-car field after one round of qualifying.
So we look at qualifying real quick. Melanie Salimi, Travis Harvey, Jason Harris, Preston Tanner, Johnny Camp, Randy Weatherford, Jason Lee. Jim Albrecht rounds out your top 8 at 364.3.
So now we're going to move over. Mincer Motorsports Pro Street presented by AFCO Racing in our first pair. Ron Green, right hand. And J.C. Beatty Jr. That's actually a super street car trying to run with these Pro Charger hot rod. Super Street makes their debut at Virginia Motorsports Park at our next event. But here in Pro Street, they're allowed to use just a little bit bigger tire. So we'll see what Ron Green and the crew have been doing a lot of testing in this machine.